What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing today? OMG. Like, really? OMG. This is like my sixth attempt trying to make this video. It's either too long or like now the mouse isn't working and it's like unbelievable today. I get a phone call in the middle of everything. I've seriously gone completely crazy. But you know what? I haven't given up. That's my nindo, you know? That's actually not giving up is probably one of the one thing I've actually followed through in life. You know, I don't give up on a lot of things. I don't give up on people. I don't give up on myself. I don't give up on anything. You know, I honestly believe people deserve second chances, forgiveness, everything. Forgetting is a little hard, but you know, not being able to give up on somebody, being able to improve themselves and everything. I think everybody deserves a chance. But anyway, let's go on. Okay. All right. This is the light version of to fodder or not to fodder. Now I'm going to show you my storage because I don't suggest foddering any monster that's not farmable. As you can see, I have Julian, I have Silver, I have, what's this guy's name, Zinc. I have the Light Inferno, the Dark High Elemental, the Light Bounty Hunter, the Light Griffin. I have a Dark Griffin. I think he's out of storage right now. I have all of these other light and dark monsters I haven't worked on. You know, like it's you don't fodder something you can't get again, you know? That's pretty much my thing, and it really is my thing. So anyways, let's move on. Let's go on to the light monster. So we will go to the awakened version. All right. Let's start with the low elemental Varus. I don't think anybody has this guy. And if they do, lucky you. I don't know where to get him. It doesn't matter because you don't need him. Taru. Now, Taru is actually a really good monster. He hits really, really hard. Why? Because of this third skill right here. Okay? Launches an attack that penetrates the enemy's guard. This attack receives a critical rate bonus. Basically, it ignores defense, guys. This is what you're looking for in a nuker, so to say. This attack receives a 50% critical rate bonus. So it's easy to get him to crit. He's also a light monster, so it's very hard for him not to crit. So if you put Rage Blade on him, attack, crit damage, attack, he automatically has 27% crit rate. You look for some crit rate, what do you call it? Crit rate substats. Even if you get it even if you get plus 3% crit rate and your crit rate is 30%, this skill has an 80% chance of getting a critical hit. So he's absolutely worth working on. I've seen him hit for like 35,000. Very good monster. Throws a ball and stuns. He has a one-turn stun. All right. Then he buffs his own attack, his own attack speed with this. If you get a critical hit, so he's absolutely worth working on. Then we have Cheryl. Everybody's gonna say, "Oh, she's so cute. She has a revive. All of that. There's a secret dungeon for her." She's not worth it, guys. Don't even bother. Sorry to tell you. Then him too. I know somebody on the global server. He loves all Yetis. He's trying to work with all the Yetis. Look, guys, he's not worth it. I'm sorry. Absolutely not worth it. Nowhere near it. He's farmable too. Shamar. The only reason why I have him is because one of my friends, his name is Shamar. And I like to tell him, look, I got you. So anyways, that's besides the point. He's not worth it. He's really not. Double attack with bite. It has a stun and reduces their attack speed. Big deal. He's not worth it. Charmin. No. He's not worth it. I'm not even going to go over his skill set. He's not worth it. Shushu. Really now? Some people might say, oh, it's a good heal, and then he dispels and all that. This is why you work on the Water Garuda. The Water Garuda has a much better dispel. Much more everything. It's a lot better. Forget about Shushu. Jansen. Jansen's alright. I wouldn't work on him. Whatever. He's not really worth it. His skills don't make sense. Anyway. He's a defense monster. He's attack skills. Well, who cares? Then we have Neil. Neil was more viable before the nerf for B10 Giants. Now, and then she was pretty much useless and I foddered her. Now I'm thinking about building her for Guild Wars. She can, when her skills are maxed out, this is every 4 turns and this is every 2 turns. Alright. Her heal is based on her attack power, which is tough to work with her. And then she has a stun as well. So she's another monster. There's no wasted move on her. Now, am I going to build her? Not anytime soon, unless I really, really need her. She would be good with Katarina in Guild Wars. I really do think that she would be good. She can protect. She can do a lot of things. Her heal is actually pretty big if you have a decent attack power with her. I would build her, if I do build her, Violent Energy. Or even Violent Revenge, too, to be honest with you. Revenge would work on her as well. Hit point, hit point, hit point, and look for attack substats. And then resistance after that. But why? Because you don't want her to be squishy, number one. And the attack substats are for her heal. So, and then the whole point of the Revenge runes is so that she could stun. When her stun is maxed out, I believe it's a 60% chance. Her stun. I may even start working on her. I don't know yet. We'll see. Depends on what kind of time I have. But she's not so bad. Is she worth 6-starring? I don't know. I'm going to have to get back to everybody on that. 5-star? Absolutely. She's not a bad monster at all. Then we have Kabila. Kabila has the 2nd highest attack speed in the game. You see that? 120 attack speed. That's pretty damn good, to be honest with everybody. Not only that, but she has this skill right here. Increases the attack speed of all allies for 3 turns and decreases the chance of receiving a critical hit by 50%. I would build her Swift Focus. Alright, that attack speed buff, that whole thing. Alright, she increases attack speed by 15. Fine. This skill over here is whatever. Doesn't matter. Depends on her on how it scales. Then this skill over here, she weakens defense with her regular attack. Okay, for 2 turns. I would build her Swift Focus Speed, Attack, and look for speed substats. That speed right there, 120 base speed, is very good. When you're working with numbers and variables and everything, she just gets a huge boost, like from Swift runes. Just to put the set on, she's going to be at 150. And then when you just with a 6-star speed rune in slot 2, she's going to have 192. And you can build her so fast, man. It's not even funny. She's a good monster. I'd keep her. She's worth 6-starring as well. Probably the only one of the bunch as well. Fodder. This is Fodder. Forget about him. Don't even bother. Not worth it. This guy is pretty viable in dungeons. I don't know about arena. It seems like too squishy for arena defense, but in B10 Dragons, he seems like he would be viable. He's just become viable, to be honest with you, because of this skill right here. Decreases the inflicted damage on the ally from water, fire, and wind attributes by 20%. The effect is not accumulated with other decreased damage effects. So basically, if you put him and Darian on the same team, your allies aren't gonna get a 35% decrease, and it doesn't work on himself. So basically, and Darian doesn't work on himself. Now, some people might try to think, oh, why don't I just put him and Darian on the same team? He'll receive 15% less damage, and Darian will receive 20% less damage. It could work out. You never know. I haven't tried it. It could work out. It could also be a stupid idea. Depends on what the comps. Depends on what's going on. But this skill absolutely made him a little more viable. Especially for dungeons like Dragons B10. I really should build him, to be honest with you. Then this skill right here causes an elemental explosion to attack an enemy. The inflicted damage is proportionate to the enemy's max hit point. This is another reason why he's viable for dungeons, because these proportionate to enemies' max hit point skills actually end up hitting high hit point monsters very, very hard. How it's going to work against other monsters, I don't know, but it's a good skill for dungeons, for dungeon bosses. Attacks the enemy with sharp claws of light, inflicts continuous damage for 2 turns if you get a critical hit. And what do we say about dungeons? It's great to get continuous damage on them. So he also gets this 15% critical rate bonus after awakened. I would put Rage Blade on him, attack, crit damage, attack. And he's not so bad. Is he worth 6-starring? I'll tell you sooner or later. Maybe I'll work on mine. You got to test these things out. 5-starring, absolutely. Then we've got the Lycaruda, Tion. Tion is okay. He's not going to take you anywhere, really. His counterpart, Kanamiya, is much better. He has this heal. He's great for the beginning. He has this dungeon ability. It increases hit points of ally monsters by 17% in dungeons. Then he has his revive. I think the AI got stupider on him, because now that he's healing, and it's like he wastes his heal and revive, even if nobody's dead. I really don't agree with that. So don't put him on defense either, guys, because he's gonna waste his revive on healing your teammate. Then the Light of Recovery. Research. It's a good skill. I like the skill. Again, I'd rather have the Water Garuda 100 times better. Not the skill itself. The skill is the same, but the Garuda is a lot better. Yeah, alright. He has a stun. Look, for the beginning, he's great. For going into mid-game, he's okay. He's really not that great. He's not worth 6-starring. I've seen a 6-star one. I wasn't too thrilled. Beladion. What can we say about Beladion? A lot. He increases the attack bar by 30%. I finally learned this. And recovers hit points by 30%. You know, I didn't know how much the attack bar increased. I thought it was going to be. I thought it was 20%. Anyway, then we have this skill: attacks the enemy and removes all beneficial effects on the target. This is only on a single target. Then we have this skill, which weakens defense, which is good too. Great. Is he worth 6-starring? Yes. Is he worth getting? Yes. You can go swift focus in the beginning, but a better set for him is violent focus, speed, hit point. You don't want him too slow when you put violent focus. If you go swift focus, you can get away with doing like hit point, make him more tankier. But speed, hit point is the way to go with him. Even with swift wounds too, because you want him fast. You want him to be able to do a lot of things. This guy's pretty cool. All right, we're going to start off with what he gets when he's awakened. He gets a 15% critical rate bonus. All right. Then we got this skill over here. Your attack power increases by 20% each time you're attacked. The effect can be added up to 5 times. So that means if he's attacked 5 times before he goes, he gets 100% of his attack power. Then we've got this over here. Attacks the enemy 3 times with energy balls. Each attack has a 30% chance of decreasing their attack bar by 30%. All right. Then we've got this skill right here. Okay. Attacks the enemy with a strong sonic boom and removes a beneficial effect with a 50% chance. All right. He's an interesting monster. You need him tanky though, but he's very, very interesting. So basically, you're getting 100% of your attack boosted, all right? If he gets hit 5 times. You're getting a critical rate bonus, okay? This is how you think about these things, guys, too. There's quite a few ways I've thought about building him. A good way is Rage Focus, or Rage Blade. Now, why focus? So he can remove harmful effects. I would, you know what? I would do Rage Blade depending on your runes. Not substats are what do everything for you. So you could go Rage Focus, you could go Rage Blade. You could do Vampire Revenge. I thought about this while I was making this video too. The most important stats, the most important things you got to look out for are the 2, 4, and 6 slot. The way I would like to build him is hit point, crit damage, hit point. Why? Because he's gonna get 100% of his attack, and then try and work on his crit rate, substats. Now you need really good runes, but I think with really good runes he can be very annoying. You need hit point substats. You need accuracy substats to remove buffs. Now, depends on which way you want to go. I think the best way to do it, and then you need attack substats too to increase his attack. So you need really good runes, but I don't think he's not viable. I think he could be very annoying on defense, on offense, whatever the case is. He's very buildable. If I ever get a chance to build him, you know what? I may just build him, to be honest with you guys, and make him Vampire Revenge and see how that works out with him. And do hit point, crit damage, hit point, and try and get some really nice substats. So just keep that in mind, guys. Depending on how you want to build him, maybe you don't want to build him with the accuracy substats. Maybe you just want him to be able to hit as hard as possible, and so he can heal himself too as he's attacking with the revenge runes as well. So think about that, guys. He's actually not so bad. He's not bad at all. We got this guy, Grogo. He's the best one of the bunch. He has a leader ability, 30%, 30% for all allies with light attribute. He has this skill, protection of light. Yeah, he gets his passive. Okay, fine. When he's awakened, increases defense for 3 turns and gives you immunity against harmful effects. Additionally, your attack speed is increased by 50%, which is good. That's a nice little passive. And then he has this stun over here. What's good about him is this passive, alright? Basically, you can't hit him in one shot for more than 20% of his max hit points. The thing is, though, and just remember this, there are monsters like Lucian that attack 3 times with their amputation magic. That counts as 3 hits. So Lucian, like if he has 10,000 hit points, this is for argument's sake, and Lucian hits him 3 times, Lucian's going to take away 6k of his hit points. How would you build him? Now, I think a good build for him would be Vampire Revenge. Why? Because he's Vampire Revenge with defense all around. Because he's going to hit you hard, he's going to stun, he's going to do a little bit of crowd control. He increases his own attack speed, he gives himself a defense buff, and he also has immunity too. So it's hard to deal with him. Now, another thought too is you could go, instead of all defense all around, you could go defense, crit damage, defense. This way, when he does crit, this is only if you get his crit rate high enough, though. That's the thing. That's the only time you put crit damage on. So, an easier build would be all defense. Like a late game build would be defense, crit damage, defense. And he could do a lot. I know somebody that's really high up there on the leaderboards. And she was telling me she wants to do... she's in my guild, actually, in Zypher 1. She was telling me she wants to do... what do you call it? She wants to build him for defense. I think she wanted to go all guard or vampire. I'm not even 100% sure, but he's tough to deal with. Then we have this guy. Now, is he good? Is he not good? He's okay. 6-star him? I don't know. Look at this. Increases resistance by 20% and decreases the inflicted damage from dark monsters by 50%. You know what it is about him? He's got this second skill right here. Inflicts damage proportional to the enemy's max hit points. Consumes 10% of your hit points. This is the same as the Fire Griffin. Now, this skill right here can probably hit for around 200,000 on a high hit point boss. Meaning the water boss, the water keeper. Dragons B10 he could work on. I haven't worked on him. It's a good second skill. People tell me to work on the fire one for B10 Dragons. Now, the fire one's a little bit of a waste of time, in my opinion, because of his third skill. It's a good third skill, but you need accuracy, you need this, you need that. Hard to build him. This one right here, I might just, if I do build him, I might just build him for dungeons, and only because he's a light monster. And then this skill, but don't waste your time with him. And then this skill right here attacks the enemy with razor sharp claws. All right, it's the same thing as all of them. So let's move on. Him. Some people are going to pretty much disagree with me on this one. He's okay. He is slow. This is the problem with him. He has this skill right here. Inflicts significant damage with Judgment of Light and removes all beneficial effects from the target. Usually, you're using this against a fast Claw. Okay, so Claw is going to buff first. It's very hard to get him fast. You really want him as a Rage Blade monster because he increases the critical rate of allied monsters with light attribute by 23%. So, point being is, you don't really want to. I don't know. I don't find him worth building. I haven't seen him really as a 6-star. Pierces the enemy with a light pierces the enemy with the light of retribution. It's like I don't know how to read, but I'm looking at the sentences and it doesn't make sense. I'm gonna read it one more time. Pierces the enemy with the light of retribution. Thank you. I'm not stupid. This attack receives 50% critical rate bonus. Again, that's why I would build him Rage Blade, because of this skill. And then he has this skill too. Again, Rage Blade. Why? Because he on critical hit, this attack will increase your attack bar by 30%. So after his first turn, he's going to go a few times. What's the cooldown on this? The cooldown's alright. I mean, there's better. You don't really have to work on him. He's squishy, that's the problem. And his attack is okay. So, and then the speed. It's like, you got to look at these things. I don't really see anybody working on him. Then you've got her. She's a great all-around, quote-unquote, nuker. Why? She has the same leader skill as the other one, 23% critical rate for monsters with the light attribute. She has a heal that the first part of it balances you and your allies' hit points. It will work through unrecoverable. It's the second part. Additionally, the hit point of both is recovered by 25%. That's the part that won't work through unrecoverable. She's not bad. Light monsters, are neutral, so they can crit against anything. You know, they don't have an elemental weakness. Obviously dark, but they're pretty much neutral to each other. They could crit each other all day. Reason why she's good: strikes an enemy with an attack strong enough to split the earth. Ignores the enemy's defense to inflict significant damage. Mine crits for around 32k. I need a few better runes for her, but so far I'm pretty happy with her. Cross attack hits the enemy with an energy blast and inflicts continuous damage for 3 turns with a 20% chance. Whatever. That's not why we want her. She's a secret dungeon. I know she's rare as a secret dungeon. She's food. Don't even bother. Please. I don't even want to read the skill set. Amon. Amon is for people like me that are lazy and want to auto everything. Even though I don't use him on my auto teams, there are moments where he comes in handy to auto stuff, okay? Everything, who cares about his first and his second ability? It doesn't matter. It's all about this one right here, his passive. Recovers all allies by 12% of my max hit points if you get a critical hit when you attack on your turn. All right. You want to build him with 100% crit rate, and you want to build him as tanky as possible. I don't suggest him for the noobs. You need really good runes if you're a noob. Noob meaning you're not farming giants, okay? And even when you're farming giants, you're not getting optimal runes for him. People try to build him like all blade and with hit point substat, with hit point percentage, and yeah, that'll get around with it. But for Amon to really shine, you need 100% crit rate. So really, he's a mid-game monster. He's not going to take you to the end game. You can use him in endgame. He's on my B10 Dragons team for autoing and farmable monsters. But the thing is, I would suggest getting Billidion before Amon, because Amon needs really, really, really good runes for him to do anything. Okay? So, let's move on with this. Is the mouse going to work now? No. Oh. For some reason, it's not working with the screen. Anyway, that's why I'm a little behind. Anyway, that's besides the point. So we've got this guy right here. People were asking me the other day, why is he good, or is he good, or whatever the case is. Yeah, he is actually pretty good. This doesn't matter. It does matter. He increases his attack speed by 15. All right. So he's got a base attack of 115. His hit points are decent, not the greatest, but they're decent. Actually, they might actually be pretty good. 69-45. That's tanky, actually. Look at this skill right here. Violently attacks the enemy 4 times to inflict damage proportionate to my max hit points, and removes a beneficial effect with a 50% chance for each attack. The cool time resets if the enemy dies. This skill actually scales pretty high. You build him as tanky as possible. You put swift blade runes on him. I would do like hit point, crit damage, hit point, or all hit point, depending on what your crit rate is, because this skill actually hits pretty hard. I fought one in the arena the other day, and I couldn't believe how hard he was hitting me. So he's pretty good. He has this mini heal over here as well. When it pops up, he has this mini heal over here. Okay, recovers the hit points of all allies by 15% each, and increases their attack speed for 2 turns. So it's a mini heal with an attack buff. So he's really not that bad. And then unrecoverable for 1 turn. Big deal. Okay. Then we've got Lyn. Lyn over here has the Phantom Crush ability. She's good for dungeons. I don't know how well she's going to work on tanks. These proportionate to enemies' max hit points skills are very good in dungeons. All right? And she has this one again as well. And this one too. And then she has this leader ability, increases attack power for all monsters by 18%. She's not bad. Is she worth 6-starring? I don't think so. For farming dungeons, you can get better, you can do better. She can make your life easier. She's also very rare. I would 5-star her, try her out, see how you like her. The Martial Cat. Don't bother, guys. Who cares? Like, it's not worth it at all. Darian. Must I really? You know, he's a good monster to get. Another one that needs good runes and good runes. He doesn't need spectacular runes to be viable, but he needs good runes, decent ones at least. You could go all energy. The optimal build for him is Violent Revenge. Sometimes I think about changing him to Nemesis Revenge, like put 4 Nemesis and one Revenge set on him, or 2 Revenge sets and Nemesis on him. Because of the Violent Rune nerf and all that. It's not even a nerf. I'll be honest with you guys, it's a balance. I don't think it's a nerf. And we're going to be seeing different Darians going on. Right now, it's Violent Revenge, so we'll leave it at that. Then we've got Walkers. He's really not worth it, guys. He's got a nice skill set and everything. Resets cooldowns. It takes away 1 beneficial effect with his 2nd skill. This is the one, Arrow of Purification. And then resets cooldowns and stuns. I don't know. I'm not... He's not selling me. He looks cool, but he's really not selling me, to be honest with you. I don't even know why they made these imp champions, to be honest with you. I don't find any of them worth doing anything with. She has a cool skill. This skill right here summons a comet to attack all enemies multiple times and creates a shield on the enemy with the lowest hit points for 2 turns. This is wrong. It creates the shield on your ally for 2 turns. The ally is revived automatically with 30% hit point if the ally dies with this effect activated. You see what I'm talking about? So something's up with this. This has a weakened defense AoE, and then I think it attacks all enemies with the power of jealousy and weakens the defense for 2 turns with a 50% chance. The effect is activated 100% chance if the enemy has beneficial effects. Okay. And then summons a crow and continues damage. Is she worth working on? She's an attack monster. There's better attackers out there, really. I don't find her too. That third skill is cool, and trust me, I know what it says, and I know what it does also. Comtours has the money to put commercials on the Super Bowl where it costs like $4.5 million for like a 30-second commercial or a 1-minute commercial, whatever the case is, but they can't translate for their lives. But that's besides the point. Let's move on. This guy, I have tried to make him work. He is too slow. He's way too slow. By the time you get him to move, he's dead. 91 base speed. He's also squishy too. His attack is good, don't get me wrong, but he's squishy as well. Brings an inevitable judgment upon all enemies, stunning them and decreasing their defense for 1 turn. The inflicted damage is proportionate to the enemy's max hit points. Again, a max hit point, what do you call it? Skill. Yeah, it'll work on a boss. Do you really want to build him just to work on a boss? Like, really, there's other monsters that you can work on that are better. He's too squishy. So he'll get one-shot by a lot of things. And then on the way to the bosses, those crystals, they hurt, especially when they weaken your defense. So, I've tried to make him work. I've seriously tried to make him work. I still have one in storage. I ended up foddering my 4-star max one to my dark one. I've tried. Trust me, I've tried. 91 base speed is horrible. That's like the slowest in the game. Silver. He's got a cool skill set. He's really for mid-game, and it's hard enough to get him as a mid-game monster. I have him collecting dust, I'll be honest with you. Attacks all enemies 3 times, disturbs hit point recovery for 2 turns with a 30% chance for each attack. The damage increases according to your defense. Okay. Slams the enemy with a hammer, weakening the target's defense for 2 turns with a 75% chance. The damage increases according to your defense. Okay. These skills don't really scale too great. Strikes and yeah, he has a stun. Big deal. I don't find him all that great. I had a nice crazy despair set on him. Not even worth it. Fami. Should I give her a review? Shouldn't I? The only way to get her is through a coupon code on a magazine in Japan. So she's a great monster. Fatal Rage. You want to it increases critical damage for ally monsters by 25%. This skill is good too. Attacks with a powerful magic arrow with a 60% chance to either stun the enemy or decrease the enemy's defense for 2 turns. Shoots wedged arrows at all enemies and decreases their attack speed for 2 turns. If you get a critical hit, increases your critical rate by 50%. And then this attacks the magic arrow. The inflicted damage increases by 15% for each harmful effect. So, anyway, that's basic. Rage Blade, attack, crit damage, attack, even though she's going to hit super hard, guys. She increases her own crit damage by 25%. And if you max out the crit damage building in the Glory Shop, that's another 50%. If you can build her with, let's say, 190% crit damage, you're at 240 just from the leader ability and the building and the glory building. Come on. Crazy damage with this monster. And then she supports other crit damage monsters. So, like, she would go great with Seek. You know what? I think I should have gotten her, too, from the Japanese magazine thing. He's not that great. I don't find him all that. His heal is based off of attack power. Attacks the enemy with a fast blow and discreet. You want to do Rage Blade, attack, just because his heal is based off of attack, if you really want to work on him. Everybody just got him. I don't see anything all that special with him. He's got like a mini Chow passive. Recovers by 10% every turn, and your attack speed increases as your hit points decrease. Attacks with an axe and increases your attack gauge by 50% if you get a critical hit. Attacks with horns and provokes the enemy. Yeah, you mean... How do you build this monster? Like, it's not even about how you build. It's like, which way do you go? Do you want him to attack hard? Or do you want him to be tanky and do nothing? Like, it doesn't make sense. You know? He's like way off on the build. You want him to be tanky, receive 10% of his hit points. You want to build him violent blade, I guess. All hit points, but it's just a staller. He doesn't do anything. He has no attack. He has nothing. He's really not worth working on. Fodder. This monster is a very interesting monster. Okay, if you read his skill set, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. With his skill set, he is probably the only monster I can think of that makes sense. Everything makes sense with him. How hard he hits, I don't know. I should work on him. I have one, Unawakened. We're going to start off like this. Increases critical rate by 15%. So he already starts off with a 30% crit rate once he's awakened. Let's move on. Increases the critical rate by 20% and the critical damage by 20%. Really? So you're telling me he has 50% crit rate without runes? Whoa, that's big. And then 20% crit damage without runes? That's pretty good. The attack power increases as your hit points decrease and your critical rate increases by 30%. The attack power increases according to defense. Whoa, wait a second. So you're telling me his second skill has 80% crit rate? Without runes? It's almost a guaranteed crit. Whoa, what's going on here, guys? This is actually a pretty good monster. I'm surprised I haven't worked on him. I had to read his skills 3 or 4 times while I was making these videos to realize he's not so bad. Attacks the enemy 2 times and weakens the enemy's defense, and inflicts continuous damage for 2 turns with a 15% chance with each attack. The attack power increases according to defense. So, we got a monster that doesn't conflict any of his skills and gets boosted in every way possible. Depending on how his skills, let's put it this way, depending on how his skills work, like the scaling of his skills, I might just do, I'm going to build him actually, I'm going to build him Rage. I don't even know if he really needs Blade Runes, guys. I might just build him Rage Revenge. Either Rage Revenge, yeah, and try and look for hit point, and try and look for crit rate substats, because he's pretty much got a 50% crit rate off the bat. And the Revenge runes for when they're trying to kill him, basically, he'll attack back, he'll weaken defense. Yeah, he'll weaken defense. You know what? He's not so bad. I really like his skill set. I truly do. Rage Revenge. You can even do Violent Revenge, but Rage Revenge would be better. And either defense, crit damage, defense, or all defense. I don't know how it scales. So you know what? He's gonna be on my to-do list, to be fully honest with you guys. Good monster. Is he worth 6-starring? I'm gonna have to let you know if I ever 6-star him. I'm not really thrilled with him at all. The attacks to the enemy. This is another one that's based off of the enemy's max hit points. If you really need the help in dungeons, but there's farmable monsters that are easier to get. If you just so happen to get him in the beginning of the game, fine, build him. But I don't find him too great. We went over Dona in the new monster vid. I really don't want to go over him again. Fran, you get pretty much for free. You make an account and you get her, I believe. I'm not even sure. So, or you have to be like level 8 or something. I'm not sure, but whatever the case is, it is. She's good in the beginning. She's like a mini Chasun in some ways. In some ways, no. She increases attack speed of all allies by 10%, which is a good speed leader in the beginning. Recovers the hit points of all allies and increases the attack power for 2 turns. The recovery amount is proportionate to the attack power. Remember that, guys. Then you have the same skill as Neil's second skill. Recovers the target's hit points and removes all harmful effects. The recovery amount is proportionate to your attack power. And then she has this stun too. You can feed her regular fairies and you'll increase her skills. I don't think she's an endgame monster, but for beginning and mid game, amazing. You can't go wrong with her. So she's a keeper until then. But do not fodder her, people. You cannot get her anywhere. Okay? Do not fodder her. You cannot get her anywhere. You know, I repeated myself because the mirroring froze, but I'm not freezing. That's the thing. I realize that. It's a different app, so I'm confusing myself here. Anyways, let's go on. A lot of people might want her. She's really not that great. Removes all harmful effects and fills up your hit points by 100%. Okay. There's a 9-turn cooldown. I don't see what the point is of making her. Throws soul beads at the enemy and recovers the same amount of the inflicted damage as hit points. The problem is she's squishy, guys. She could get one-shotted like it's nothing. Attacks an enemy 3 times with a shimmering light. Each strike has a 20% chance to deter them, and she does the unrecoverable. Maybe for offense. You know, she has this skill over here. She's weird. I wouldn't build her. I wouldn't even bother. Where are we going? All right. She's actually pretty good. Why? I'm going to tell you why. All right. Reduces all damage that the target will receive to 0 for 3 turns. So it's basically a shield, okay, for 3 turns. She has this skill too. It increases defense of all monsters with light attribute by 40%. All right, big deal. You got this skill right here. It resets all cooldowns. That's good. That's actually really good. I like this. I personally like this. Attacks an enemy with a small ray of light, removing a beneficial effect on the target if the attack lands as a critical hit. I would try and build her violent focus. Hit point, crit rate, hit point. Try and get the crit rate up as high as possible. I don't know about putting her on defense, but I would build her for offense. That's a nice skill to have. That first skill right there, removing beneficial effects with a critical hit. We got this guy. He was a Hall of Heroes the other day. Yeah, he's cool. He's cool looking. Yeah, he's the worst one of all the sylphs. I'm sorry to say it. Don't bother building him. You know, I've seen people 6-star him already. He is honestly this Hall of Heroes dungeon was for food. It wasn't to build the raiders. I'm gonna keep one, and he's gonna be collecting dust. Forget about him. He's not worth it. And it's because this stun sucks. Each attack has a 10% chance to stun, and then when you upgrade it, it's like a 20% chance. When you fully skill him, it's not even worth throwing other sylphs into him. Trust me, it's not. It makes me cry every time I think about it. But anyway, she's really good. She has this skill right here. Recovers the hit points of all allies by 30% and increases their defense for 3 turns. This is good. She has a cooldown skill as well. She has a nice base speed. She has decent hit points. You can't go wrong with her. You build her violent focus or violent nemesis too. Speed, hit point, or all hit points. If you put nemesis on her, maybe you should just do all hit point. She's not bad. She's not bad at all. I'd keep her. She's a keeper. This is the best succubus from the bunch, guys. I'm sorry, it's lagging a little bit, I know, but I can't film a longer. This is a really long video. I can't make a part 1 and a part 2, so my shorter videos will be a lot better than this. But anyways, this is the best succubus of the bunch. All right, I'm gonna tell you why. She's crowd control galore. She has this skill right here. reduces attack speed, and puts glancing hit for 2 turns. There's no chance. It pretty much just does it. Obviously, you need accuracy for her, but there is no chance. She just does it. Then this slaps the enemy in the face and disturbs their hit point recovery for 2 turns. Inflicts critical damage if the enemy is sleeping. So that's where this skill comes along. Attacks with a bat and puts the enemy to sleep for 1 turn with a 50% chance. Recovers the attack gauge by 50% if the enemy falls asleep. So she's all around a great monster. The best one out of the bunch, in my opinion. Then she has this arena leader ability, hit points 30 by 33%. I know people that are using her for TOA hard. She's really good. Great CC monster. I don't even want to talk about him. Compared to the other Jokers, he's the worst. I said the water one is the worst. The water one and him are both shit. Complete shit. Okay? This passive right here is definitely not worth working on him. Alright? Don't even bother. Him. Jin. I like the leader ability. I heard that this skill scales pretty high. And it's a 40% chance for each hit to land a glancing hit for 3 turns, not 2 like other monsters. Then he reduces attack bar as well. And then he has the inflicts continuous damage skill. He's not so bad. If you got him, work on him. Why not? Speed leaders are pretty good. The fire one and the water one are horrible. So we've got Eva. This skill right here storms an enemy with a rush of attacks. This attack will be a critical hit if the enemy is incapacitated. This is an interesting skill. And because she is a light monster as well. So it's interesting. I'll be honest with you guys, it's interesting. Is she worth working on? I'm not 100% sure. I don't have her. I've actually never seen a 6-star one. For arena offense, I think she'd be alright as a single target DPS. So it's not bad. This skill, it annoys me. It inflicts damage with a sharp attack and inflicts continuous damage for 1 turn. It probably hits hard because usually the PRS second skill does hit pretty hard. Whatever. And then she has a 30% chance to remove beneficial effects. Okay. I have him. I've never ever used him. You've seen him with runes, yeah. He's rune storage. I really don't find any good use for him at all. I don't like his skills. Why am I keeping him? Because he's pretty rare. There's not a lot of people that can say they have him. There's probably like, I'm going to over-embellish this and say 50 people might have him. That's about it. And, you know, we'll even say 1,000 people out of the 30 million people that downloaded this game. I just kept him because he's rare. He's collecting dust. This is rated one of the top 5 monsters in the game. She has the best revive in the game. Revives an ally with 60% hit points and increases the ally's defense for 3 turns. Nobody does that. The fill is it's good. It's decent. Absorb mana. Yeah, whatever. All of them have this skill. She is really, really good. I think she gets 15 speed, yeah, when she's awakened. You build her Violent, Energy, or Endure. Hit point, hit point, hit point. She's got over 40,000 hit points, very hard to kill. Maybe speed might work in slot 2 as well. But still, you know, you can even do, instead of doing speed, maybe you could do Violent Nemesis. You know, it's not a bad, she's one of the top 5 monsters rated in the Korean chart. Chris. She's not so bad. She gives attack power to light attribute for 35%. Attacks with a powerful magic arrow with a 60% chance to either stun the enemy or to decrease the enemy's defense, which isn't bad. She has a high attack power too. I think it's the same as Lucian, so as a 6-star it's 900. Attacks with an arrow that's lightning fast, the damage increases according to attack speed. See, this skill hits really hard. The thing is, the whole thing with the attack speed thing, you got to build her with attack and then look for speed substats. The way I would build her is Rage Blade, and you put attack, crit damage, attack. Then you need crit rate substats before you think about anything. And then you want to find speed substats as well. So she'd be good with godly runes, but who isn't good with godly runes? That's the thing, guys. Is she worth working on? Yeah, maybe. But and then that skill's the same. But whatever. I like her. I like Pang a lot. She looks a little weird, but I like her. She has this passive right here. Elongates the harmful effects on the enemy for 1 turn. Damage is increased by 30% if the enemy's hit point is below 50%. Now, what does that mean? That means if you put continuous damage on her, let's say 2 turn continuous damage, it's going to extend itself to 3 turns. Okay, for every single hit. I'm not sure if this passive is what do you call it? Can be resisted. Here's the other thing about her. I'm not sure if it's true or not. I heard this. This is a rumor. I don't have her for me to know. I know at some point there was a bug with her. Like if you put bombs on a monster and you used her, the bomb would never move. Pretty much, or it would elongate the turn for the bomb, which didn't make sense because it should do something else. I heard, I'm not sure, so don't quote me on this. I heard that she decreases the turn on the bomb. So if the bomb is going in 2 turns and she smacks him, it's going in 1 turn. So she'd be good with a bomber. Now, how sure am I of this? I'm not at all. I could be lying to you for all I know. You know, so don't quote me on that. Just think about it. Then we've got this. Attacks with a burning whip and inflicts continuous damage for 3 turns. This is a decent skill. And then this. Attacks the enemy with the whip, decreasing the enemy's attack speed for 2 turns with a 50% chance the damage increases according to attack speed. You can build her violent revenge, violent focus, violent blade. Let me see what she gets over here. Accuracy. There's a lot of builds. You could build a swift focus, swift blade. Depends on how you want to build her, what you want her for. She's a good monster. She's definitely worth a 6-star. This guy has an interesting skill set. Great. This guy has an interesting skill set. Okay. Increases critical rate by 15%. So he's an attacker, basically. It says attack over there too. Attacks an enemy and revives an ally with 30% of hit points if the enemy dies. That's good. That's not bad. It doesn't sound bad. This one is based off of hit points, so this is completely conflicting with his skill sets. And then this unleashes a fatal blow. Fine, whatever. It's a hit point recovery skill. Disturb hit point recovery skill. I don't know if he's worth it. His base attack is... I don't know what this 3rd attack scales at. I don't have one to know. But if I was to build him, I'd build him Rage Blade, attack, crit damage, attack, just because of this. He's automatically got 30% crit rate. Does it work? Does it not work? I don't know. I haven't fought one in the arena. I don't know. So it is what it is with him. This guy is complete shit. Don't even bother. Some people want to 6-star him too. He's conflicting. Becomes invincible for 1 turn if your hit point falls below 50% from the above 50%. Okay. Inflicts damage to all enemies with hold that consumes souls, and recovers by 50% of the inflicted damage. Absorbs the enemy's attack gauge by 15% with a 10% chance for each attack. And then you've got this. Attacks an enemy with the soul of the dead and decreases the target's attack speed for 2 turns with a 75% chance. The problem is he's not an attacker. So even if this skill did something, I don't think it's going to hit for hard at all. And what are you recovering to top it off? How many hit points are you recovering? So if you go below 50%, like you're at 25%, and he has high hit points or a decent amount of hit points, you're not going to... I don't even want to go through the whole... Just don't even bother building him. He's not worth it. This guy. He's actually pretty good, the Light Samurai. I like him. Okay? This is a little conflicting. Increases resistance, but whatever. I guess he would be a little OP if they increase his crit rate. This third skill attacks all enemies 2 times with shining sword energy. The inflicted damage increases by 25% if the enemies under harmful effects, and always inflicts critical damage to monsters with dark attribute with a 100% chance. This is a good skill if you have weakening effects on the enemy. Then you got this, attacks with sharp energy of the sword. Your critical rate is increased by 50%. So he's got a 50% crit rate boost on this one. Then this weakens defense with a 50% chance, which is good. Fatal Rage, attack crit damage, Fatal Blade or Rage Blade, attack crit damage attack. He will probably hit like a truck. He has a nice attack power, pretty good, decent speed. He's not bad at all. So he's one of those to build. I'm not really sure about her. All I really like is this leader ability right here. Increases critical rate of ally monsters in the arena by 24%. That's because it works with all monsters. And then we've got this. Attacks the enemy 4 times with the power of light and recovers by 50% of the inflicted damage. I don't know what the scaling is of this, and her attack power is really low. She's a hit point monster to top it off, for Christ's sake. Attacks the enemy with a twist kick and decreases the attack gauge by 50% with an 80% chance. Alright. And then this attack can twist kick, it can turn into the twist kick and whatever. I don't think she's worth it. This guy has a cool little skill set. Okay, he gets a leader ability when he's awakened. He has the attack speed leader ability. This passive is pretty cool. Increases the attack power by 50% if your hit point is lower than the target enemy's hit point. When attacking, and removes one beneficial effect if the enemy of the enemy if you have less beneficial effects than the enemy. This is so situational, it's not even funny, but it's not so bad either. He's like a little, I know somebody that has him. They're going to use him as a side project. He's an attack brownie too. Attacks all enemies with giant orbs. Attacks with a fatal blow regardless of the enemy's attribute. And then this too. So you want to put violent wounds on him for that 50% chance to go or whatever. He's not, I don't think he's really that great. He's a little bit on the situational side. This bomber might be the best of all bombers, to be honest with you. He has this skill right here. Attacks all enemies with a bright flash of light to decrease the attack gauge by 50%, and stuns the enemies for 1 turn with a 50% chance. Okay. He has the bomb skill. He has a nice attack power for this bomb skill as well. And guys, fatal runes are getting buffed, so now instead of getting a 30% attack buff, they're getting a 40% attack buff. They're equaling with Rage runes. So now there's not much of a difference between Rage Blade and Fatal Blade. So he's got this skill. All the bombers are going to get the 10% little buff from the Fatal runes, and then this skill, whatever. He's probably one of the better bombers. Him, the water, and the wind ones. They're all good. I like him. I think he's the best one. He's of light attribute as well, so, and he also buffs his own crit rate by 50% for all light monsters. So he's definitely worth working on. We'll go back to him. This guy, all right, the Light Taoist. He has a very nice and unique skill set. Okay, increases resistance by 25%. Fine. Increases the critical rate of ally monsters by 17%. That's good. I like that. What's so special about him is this passive. Prevents an ally from dying with an attack and shares 30% of your hit points. The skill won't activate if your hit point is below 30%. So basically what it is if you kill one of his allies and he has more than 30% of his hit points, he's automatically going to revive them. It's not a wasted turn or anything. The thing about him is he's a little contradicting. Like, attacks all enemies 2 times with a sandstorm and decreases the attack gauge by 30% with a 30% chance for each attack. Alright. And then he has this skill, which all of them have. It performs an attack that is hard to predict. This skill receives a 30% increased critical rate. Just because of the passive, I would make him so tanky it's not even funny. I would do. I don't even know if I would put violent wounds on him just because of the passive. I would put. I might even go all energy on him. You don't need him to do anything but just sit there and make sure nobody dies. You know, like put a nice support with him and go all energy with him because he's going to revive constantly. It's a constant revive. As long as he has more than 30% of his hit points, it's a constant revive. And people are going to go for him first. Honestly, yeah, I might just go all energy. Maybe energy endure just to keep him from like getting stunned and stuff like that. Maybe the passive doesn't work when he's stunned. I'm not sure about that. I don't know. But, or energy will too. But I would tank him out like there was no tomorrow, this one right here. Because that's all he's worth, is that passive. That's it. I'm hearing some stories about him. I heard that this third skill can do like 30k damage. So I don't know. Attacks the target enemy to make the attack gauge roll. I went over him already when they came out, but my review wasn't that great on the new monsters, and I'll admit it too. He gets a 15% critical rate bonus when he's awakened. Attacks the enemy by hurling an axe of wrath and increases your attack gauge by 50%. Then he has this too. Attacks the enemy twice and inflicts continuous damage or whatever. I heard that this does like a 30k hit. It's really not that bad. And he's a light monster, so he could tank out some things. He can, his base hit points are okay. I don't know about tanking for too long, but he has no weaknesses. He can always do a critical hit. So he's worth it now to build. Alright. Now we're up to a chroma. Honestly, I don't know who's worse, her or Katarina. Yeah, she has a nice leader ability. She increases hit points of ally monsters in the arena by 44%. Let's see what this does. It increases her speed by 15. You know what? I was expecting to see resistance. Increases resistance for some reason. I don't know why. Because I've seen Comptos do some dumb things. So she has this passive. Basically, you can't put a single weakening effect on her. You could sit there and try all day. It's not happening. Gains immunity against all harmful effects with the power of Sacred Shield. The thing is, though, she doesn't have a great attack. So she's not an attacker. I don't see what the point of building her. Like, she's just a rare monster. Attacks an enemy dealing damage proportionate to the enemy's max hit points and increases the target's chances to land a glancing hit for 2 turns. Alright, you know, maybe if you built her super fast or something and she tries to put the glancing hit on everybody so your team doesn't die if they're all frozen or something, I don't know. Attacks with a sword, Seal of Light is automatically activated if the enemy dies. She's definitely not the better one of the bunch. Honestly, it goes by, it's people say Camilla, some people say Vanessa, and then it's Trinity right after that, between those 3. And then it's between Akroma and Katarina. She's not the better one of the bunch, I'll be honest with you. I like him. He's pretty cool. He's not useless at all. Increases the critical rate of ally monsters by 24%, which is a great leader skill for nuking and stuff like that. Attacks all enemies with a holy light. Guarantees a critical hit on enemies of all attributes except for light. And let's see what he increases resistance. Alright, whatever. Recovers the hit points of all allies with holy light and removes 2 harmful effects of each ally. Recovery amount is proportionate to attack power. Alright, and then this skill doesn't do anything other than attack. I would build him, me personally, and you gotta hear my reasoning after. Hit point, crit damage, hit point. Why? He has the highest base hit points I've seen in the entire game. I don't think he needs more than 2 hit point rolls. And because of this skill, you want to add a little bit of a bite to him. Okay? So that's why I would put crit damage on slot 4. Or you know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I would build him hit point, attack hit point, because forget about crit damage. That was a mistake. Because this skill is based, his attack is his heal is based off of attack. So yeah, he's better off being built like that. Sorry about that, guys. I make mistakes too. All right. the Light Phoenix. I keep hearing people say that he sucks. Let me tell you something. He's either got the second or third highest attack power in the game. He's not that squishy. He is kind of squishy, but he's not that squishy. Okay. I don't know what the rate, oh man, what's going on over here? Why does it look like crap? Anyways, burns all enemies and removes beneficial effects from them. Reusable in 5 turns. Okay. Whatever. That's besides the point. The point is that I don't know how this skill scales. And it probably scales pretty good. And it removes beneficial effects. So he's good. I think he's all right. I'd give him a chance. Absolutely. I mean, if you pull him, you're definitely giving him a chance. It's a natural 5-star light monster, for Christ's sake. Attacks the enemy with a holy energy and stuns them with 1 turn if you get a critical hit. Okay. And then this is a stun for 18% chance. All right. What does he get? Increases resistance. All right. The leader ability doesn't interest me at all. If you pull a Light Phoenix, guys, work on him. Please. You can't just have him sitting around. We got the Light Chimera. The Light Chimera resistance is then he increases the hit points of light monsters by 50%. This is a cool skill. Unleashes a holy battle cry, stunning enemies or recovering the hit point of allies. The targets of either stun effects or healing effects will add up to 3 targets collectively. The recovery amount is proportionate to your max hit points. Okay. Then this too, the faster your attack speed, the greater the damage. Becomes attack speed is increased for 2 turns if you get a critical hit. Reusable in 2 turns. And then this skill right here. Now, obviously, a lot of people know there's somebody else that has him and he makes videos with him. This skill actually scales pretty good. I see him with violent, I think, hit point, crit rate, and hit point or attack. They use him as an attacker. I really don't agree with the crit rate in slot 4 if you can just try and get crit rate from substats. You know, you gotta get some nice rooms for him. Definitely worth working on. He's a light 5-star. You know, make him 6-star. I'm not too sure about his skills. I really don't think he hits as hard as he should in some cases. Definitely a good monster. I think all the chimeras are good. The best one being the dark one, but we'll go on to that another day. I really don't like him. This one right here. Gains the power of immortality and protects you from dying from a normal attack. Critical and continuous damage excluded. Increases the chances of the enemy landing a glancing hit by 30%. He's a staller. Doesn't really do anything. Then we've got this skill. Strikes a strong blow with a surprise attack. This attack receives a 30% critical rate bonus. Okay. Attacks 2 times with a vampire bat and points by 30% of the inflicted damage. All right. I think it's a little bit of a joke. His base hit points are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But anyway, he has a decent attack. I would build him Rage Blade, Fatal Blade, attack, crit damage attack. See how it goes with him. I really don't like him. That third skill is that third skill passive. You're not gonna not bring a monster if you see him that can't get a critical hit. That's the thing. Lima. It's a good thing I made this video after they buffed her, because if it would have been before they buffed her, I would have had to edit the video. Anyways, she got a huge buff. Her leader ability is alright. Increases accuracy by 41%. Whatever. It's not that. It's not all that. It's this ability right here. Removes the harmful effect on all allies, makes them invincible for 1 turn, and recovers their hit points by 15% each for 3 turns. That's crazy. That really is a crazy third skill. Honestly, she makes Chloe look like bleh. And to top it off, her I don't know, I really don't know because I don't have her again, but I'm guessing if you put Devilmon into her, that skill cooldown is going to be less than 6 turns. It might be 5, it might be 4. She's really, really good. Absolutely work on her. Predicted future. Attacks all enemies with an 80% chance to remove beneficial effects, inflicting continuous damage equal to the number of removed beneficial effects for 2 turns. So basically, if you have 2 buffs, she'll strip them off and turn them into continuous damage for 2 turns. So you're gonna get 2 buffs for you're gonna get 2 continuous damage effects on you for 2 turns. And then this, when she gets a critical hit, she increases her attack bar by 15% for each critical hit. Whoa. I want her. I want this monster. I would love to have her. I have the water one. The water one is great. This one is just amazing. Just for this 3rd skill right here. It's just amazing. We've got her. Yeah, she's cute. Increases accuracy by 25%. Increases critical rate of light monsters by 38%. Attacks all enemies 3 times, dealing damage proportionate to your max hit points. Each attack has a 30% chance to decrease their attack power for 3 turns. I'm going to read all the skills first. Summons a doll knight, and attacks all enemies, stunning them for 1 turn with a 50% chance. Alright, she's not so conflicting, this one. Summons a teddy bear to attack the enemy. This attack has a 20% chance to forcibly put the enemy to sleep for 1 turn. Acquires another turn if the enemy falls asleep. Alright. She is not so conflicting. Okay? You can build her all hit point. All hit point. You can build her with all hit point with focus runes. So basically, I'm sorry. Build her violent focus. Sorry, I ended up getting a Skype call out of nowhere. Build her violent focus, hit point, tank her out, so she can do this skill as hard as possible, then she can do this. Maybe you might want to put a little bit of speed on her, but you want accuracy on her just for these 2 skills to work. And then this skill to also stick on. She's not so bad, she's pretty good. Definitely worth 6-starring. Somebody asked me about him the other day. I suggested to him, I believe I suggested Fatal Rage with attack, crit damage, attack. Yeah. I'm sorry, hit point, crit damage, and attack. Why hit point? Because it is passive. Gains immunity against inability effects and increases your attack power by 20% each time your allies become incapacitated. Accumulates up to 10 times. Wow, you know what? I might have read that wrong. Because incapacitated does not mean dead. That means if the other allies are stunned and stuff. Maybe attack, crit damage, attack might be the way to go. Wow, I have to send that guy a message now that I'm thinking about it. He'll hit really hard if the rest of the team is stunned or frozen and stuff like that. Wow. And then you got channels burning rage to inflict great damage to an enemy. The damage increases according to the number of dead allies. So, alright, it might have been because of this why I told him to build it. Hit point, crit damage, hit point. Maybe you could do hit point, crit damage, attack, and do like violent blade instead, so he can get more turns. Inflicts continuous damage for 2 turns if you land the critical hit. See, that's the thing about these monsters. These monsters, you need really, really good runes for them to be good. You know, like that's what Comtos is expecting out of everybody. Increases the resistance of allied monsters by 41%. Okay. Attacks all enemies with a giant net to inflict damage proportionate to your max hit points, and puts them to sleep for 1 turn, or decreases the attack power for 2 turns with a 75% chance. I don't even find this all that useful. So what do? You build him tanky and then you hope you put him to sleep instead of weakening their attack power? Attacks all enemies, okay. Fine. He has a nice speed upgrade, base speed. Depends what you want to do with him. You could build him swift focus, speed, hit point. He has a nice base speed. He has a nice base hit point. His attack isn't that great. He's a situational monster as well. Again, he's alright. Artemil. This is the monster that everybody wants. Somewhat. Artemil is good. He's not the greatest of monsters. Increases monsters' hit points of light attribute by 50%. Counterattacks the attacker when you or your ally is attacked with a critical hit, and increases the attack gauge by 15%. Alright. Recovers an ally's hit points by 50%, and then attacks with a heavenly sword, removing a beneficial effect on the enemy with a 75% chance. The damage increases according to your defense. So, he counterattacks, and the damage is increased according to your defense. and increases the attack gauge and does all this stuff. Maybe you should go Violent Revenge or Violent Nemesis would be good too, just to increase the attack gauge and get more attacks out of him. I fought a full revenge team one time and it was very annoying with him as the leader. He's not the greatest of archangels, to be honest with you. I think the wind one is the best one. His defense is pretty high. He's a support monster. His hit points are pretty high. His speed sucks. So maybe you should try going like, I don't know, Violent Revenge or Violent Nemesis to get him to go a little faster. Revenge isn't worth it. You should do Violent, what's the percentage over here? 15%. No, increase the attack gauge. So it's going to happen no matter what. So you don't need Revenge runes on him. Violent Nemesis would be the way to go. Now we've got this guy. He seems cool. Attacks all enemies with a spell for the power of light and increases the chances of missing for 2 turns. The attack power increases as your max hit point increases. Oh man, that's horrible. Recovers 40% of your max hit point. Yeah, alright. Another skill. What does he do? He strikes and inflicts damage proportionate to your max hit point and weakens the enemy's defense for 1 turn. Increases the attack speed for 2 turns if you get a critical hit. Okay, this first skill made him a little more viable. How would I build him? That's the thing. He buffs his own speed. Either Violent Focus, even Violent Revenge works. Swift Focus, Swift Revenge works. A lot of different builds. It depends on how you want to build him. She's cool. Rare monster. Once again, super rare. Increases effect accuracy. Attacks all enemies 3 times to weaken the defense for 2 turns with a 50% chance and inflicts continuous damage for 2 turns with a 50% chance. Oh, I'm reading this, but it's not popping up on the screen. Come on. There we go. Yeah, we're not using this app for too long. It's a good thing that this app is just for this stuff right here. Attacks all enemies 3 times to weaken the defense for 2 turns with a 50% chance and inflicts continuous damage for 2 turns with a 50% chance. That's a good skill. She's an attack monster, so it charges towards the enemies to slash them all, inflicts a critical hit on the enemies with a continuous damage with a 100% chance. Attacks the enemy with a sharp blade and inflicts continuous damage for 2 turns with a 50% chance. All right. You have to have dots on them, or continuous damage, as they would say, for you to use this skill. People ask me why I don't use this skill as much. Because I don't have dots on them that much. You know, mine's a little bit on the slow side. She's a Fatal Blade. She's a Fatal Blade monster or Rage Blade monster. Attack, crit damage, attack. So you gotta. That's the best way to build her. All right. The new Sky Dancers, the light one, is a natural 5-star. Increases resistance of allies by 48%. Fills up the target allies' attack gauge to the fullest amount and recovers the hit points by 25%. Your attack gauge is also increased by 50%. Reusable in 4 turns, so you could probably get this down to a 3-turn cooldown. I don't know. Throws a sharp blade fan to attack 3 times and removes beneficial effects with a 50% chance for each attack. You could probably get this down to a 3-turn cooldown also. Attacks with a graceful touch. Alright. I guess you would build her violent. All hit point. Well, no. She's got a high base speed. You build her violent or swift with focus runes. Speed, hit point. And I'm sure she'll be viable. Somehow. I'm not too thrilled about her skill set. This guy. I like his skill set. It's really, really good. Alright. Leader ability increases hit points of ally monsters by 33%. I guess because it's everywhere, it's 33%. Creates a shield for all allies that lasts for 3 turns. The ally revives automatically with 30% if the ally dies when the skill is active. So this is pretty cool. It's like an auto revive as long as the skill is active. Okay. Attacks the enemy with the power of the mountain, inflicting damage, increases according to your lost hit points. Alright, whatever. And I don't really like their first skill, the 15% chance to put him to sleep for 2 turns. It's really bugs me. I don't know why they only did 15%. It's like such a troll by Comtuous. So him, I built him violent energy, violent revenge maybe, if you want to try and get this skill going. I don't know. Violent energy. Violent is definite. Energy. Violent nemesis maybe, just to get him to go more. Violent Nemesis might actually be the rune build for him. So we've got her now. Leader ability, resistance in the arena by 55%, big deal. Recovers the turn of an ally instantly and decreases the cooltime by 2 turns. The target's hit points will be decreased by 50%. So this is a very situational move. It is extremely situational. I don't know if how well it would work out. She has a nice high attack speed. Creates a shield that's proportionate to your level to protect all allies for 2 turns and weakens the attack power of all enemies for 2 turns within... you know what? I went over her though. Alright, we'll go over her again. It is what it is. I'm not too thrilled with this one. This one, she has the weakens the defense for 2 turns with a 30% chance. That's probably the best part about her. This skill is very situational. It can come in very handy though. I'll be honest with you. So... but it's still extremely situational. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'm sorry for the lag and everything. I'm trying to make this video. As I said, this is like the 4th, 5th, or 6th. I don't even remember at this point. I've been going at it for a long time. I don't even know how long this video is, but expect a doozy. And as I said, I didn't give up on making this video. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Have a good night.